Welcome to our in-depth battlefield report on the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Today we delve into the complexities of this geopolitical struggle, exploring the historical context, military capabilities, and the strategic motivations of the involved nation. As we begin, let's consider the insights of Colonel Douglas Macgregor, who emphasizes the importance of historical and geographical factors in shaping Russia's defensive strategies. Understanding these motivations is crucial as we unpack the actions of each nation and the broader implications of this conflict. It is a struggle that goes beyond mere territory. It is about influence, power dynamics, and the future of international relations. As we examine the historical and geographical factors that shape this conflict, let's first consider the unique defensive capabilities that Russia has developed over the years. History and geography have endowed Russia with remarkable defensive capabilities, especially during major wars. The vastness of Russian territory creates inherent challenges for any invading force, making sustained military campaigns exceptionally difficult. Attacking a large area like Europe is not merely a tactical endeavor, it requires immense logistical support and a clear understanding of regional dynamics. If European nations unite in their defense, Russia could find itself facing significant obstacles. The strategic importance of the Dnieper River cannot be overstated. It serves as a critical barrier that any invading force must contend with. If Europe commits to mobilizing all its resources to defend critical areas like the Dnieper River crossing, it would not be easy for Russia. This assessment aligns with the views of Inspector Scott Ritter, who underscores the critical nature of such strategic waterways. The current military landscape is shaped not only by troop numbers, but also by the intricate web of logistics, geography, and the will of the people involved. The historical context reveals that previous attempts to breach Russian defenses have met with failure, reinforcing the notion that a direct confrontation could lead to dire consequences for any invading forces. However, Russia possesses the advantage of distance, being able to launch attacks from its own territory. With advanced missile systems and a well-prepared military, they can strike deep into Ukrainian territory, creating a formidable challenge for any would-be invader. So what does this mean for the West's response? Let's explore that next. Western support primarily consists of armed shipments. However, it is crucial to note that without direct troop involvement, the advantage could still tilt toward Russia. The debate within NATO about how far to go in supporting Ukraine is ongoing and fraught with tension. Should Europe merely send weapons without a commitment to direct confrontation, Russia may leverage its geographical advantages in Ukraine. It raises a critical question. How serious is the West about its commitments? This reluctance to engage fully reflects a deep-seated apprehension about the potential consequences of escalating military involvement. Both sides pouring their resources into the fight along the Dnieper could lead to a stalemate, given Russia's fortified positions near the border. The reality on the ground is that Western nations, while eager to support Ukraine, are also acutely aware of the risks involved in a direct military confrontation with Russia. This precarious balancing act demonstrates the complexities of modern warfare, where proxy battles are often fought to avoid direct engagement. Moreover, the question of accountability arises: who ultimately bears the consequences of these military decisions? The soldiers on the front lines and the civilians caught in the crossfire face the most significant risks. Now let's consider the potential consequences if Europe were to escalate the conflict further by invading Russian territory, a scenario fraught with peril for all involved. Should Europe decide to extend the battlefield into Russian territory, the likely outcome is a swift defeat. Russia has the advantage of home territory defense, making any Western offensive a perilous gamble. The geopolitical landscape is littered with examples of overreaching military strategies that have resulted in catastrophic failures, and history serves as a harsh teacher. The Cold War era is replete with instances where miscalculations led to disastrous consequences, a cautionary tale that should not be forgotten in contemporary discussions about military strategy. Direct confrontation with Russia would likely result in catastrophic consequences, which is why the West prefers indirect support for Ukraine rather than risking a broader conflict. A full-scale invasion would escalate tensions dramatically, bringing NATO into a direct confrontation with a nuclear-armed adversary, an outcome that no rational leader desires. The idea of a hot war in Europe is not just a talking point, it's a genuine concern that keeps strategists awake at night. The potential for miscommunication or miscalculation is ever present. and it is crucial to approach the situation with the utmost caution and strategic foresight. Yet the dynamics within Europe itself complicate this scenario. Let's explore the divisions within NATO and the EU regarding the approach to the Ukraine crisis. Europe is not a monolith. Various nations hold differing views on how to handle the conflict. Eastern European countries often advocate for a tougher stance against Russia, emboldened by their geographical proximity and historical experiences. Conversely, Western nations like France and Germany lean towards diplomacy and de-escalation, cautious of provoking an already volatile situation. This dichotomy reveals a fundamental tension within NATO, where collective decision-making is hindered by disparate national interests. This division within NATO has serious implications for its collective strategy and unity. Notably, Colonel Douglas Macgregor has articulated how these divisions could weaken NATO's response, illustrating the lack of consensus that can lead to paralysis in decision-making. The internal disagreements within NATO are a strategic advantage for Russia, which seeks to exploit these rifts to its benefit. By understanding the divergent perspectives of its members, Russia can tailor its strategies to exacerbate these divisions and undermine the cohesion of Western alliances. Amidst these complexities, we must not overlook the challenges the United States faces domestically, which further impact its role in this conflict. The interplay of international strategy and domestic politics shapes every decision made on the global stage. Despite its military prowess and leadership within NATO, the U.S. grapples with internal pressures such as inflation and rising public debt, hindering its capacity to fully commit to a prolonged military engagement in Ukraine. The American public's war fatigue is palpable, and politicians must weigh the cost of continued involvement against the desire for stability in Europe. This conflict comes at a time when domestic issues are mounting, complicating the political landscape and making it difficult for leaders to justify further military expenditures. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine highlights that there is no simple military solution available. Regardless of how much support is provided, the reality is that prolonged involvement without a clear path to victory may erode public support, leaving the U.S. government caught in a bind. The historical parallels to Vietnam are concerning, with echoes of past conflicts resurfacing in current discussions about U.S. foreign policy. This situation illustrates the complexities of modern warfare, where geopolitical maneuvers are often dictated by domestic sentiments as much as by international considerations. The pressure to withdraw troops and resources could soon clash with the urgent need to support an ally under siege. Now that we've established the economic challenges facing the U.S., let's shift our focus to Russia's robust defense capabilities and strategic resilience. Russia has not only prepared militarily, but has also focused on building an economy capable of sustaining prolonged conflict. Sanctions from the West have unexpectedly bolstered Russia's self-sufficiency, allowing it to pivot towards new alliances, especially within the BRICS nations. This strategic realignment is emblematic of Russia's ability to adapt to external pressures, creating a more resilient economic and military posture. The same sanctions have not crippled Russia as intended. Rather, they have prompted innovation and diversification in its economic policies. As the conflict endures, Russia continues to reinforce its military infrastructure, ensuring that it can sustain a lengthy engagement. The advancements in technology, troop readiness, and logistical support are all critical elements that have been meticulously cultivated. Even as the conflict drags on, Russia's capacity to replenish its military resources ensures that it remains a formidable opponent. This unwavering commitment to military readiness speaks volumes about Russia's long-term strategy, which is designed to outlast any fleeting gains by Western nations. However, what does this mean for the geopolitical landscape as a whole? Let's explore the broader implications of this conflict. The conflict in Ukraine is not just a regional issue, but a critical juncture in a larger global struggle for power. As Russia resists Western pressures, it simultaneously seeks to expand its influence across various geopolitical fronts. The realignment of global power dynamics is at play, and the consequences of this conflict will echo through history. Nations worldwide are watching closely, as this confrontation could redefine relationships and alliances in the coming years. The outcome of this conflict could redefine global alliances and economic partnerships for years to come. As nations observe this clash, they will be evaluating their own positions and strategic interests, leading to shifts in allegiances and partnerships that could reshape the international order. The rise of multipolarity is already evident, with countries seeking to balance power against Western dominance. This evolving landscape suggests that the implications of this conflict stretch far beyond the borders of Ukraine, impacting global trade routes, energy supplies, and diplomatic relations. As we wrap up our analysis, let's consider the long-term consequences for both Russia and the West if this conflict persists without resolution. Looking ahead, neither Russia nor the West appears willing to back down. The war in Ukraine will likely continue to be a significant factor shaping the geopolitical landscape, influencing everything from military strategy to economic partnerships. As Inspector Scott Ritter has pointed out, the implications of this conflict extend far beyond Ukraine itself, touching on the very fabric of global stability. The stakes are higher than ever, and as the world holds its breath, the potential for further escalation looms ominously on the horizon. Ultimately, this conflict reflects deeper ideological, economic, and political battles that extend far beyond the borders of Ukraine, necessitating continued vigilance as the world watches and waits. The lessons learned here will shape future engagements, influencing how nations approach similar conflicts in an increasingly interconnected world. As we continue to monitor this evolving situation, one thing remains clear: the echoes of this war will be felt for generations to come.